Great to be here. Much love, my boy. You already know. Salute.
Yes, sir, man. What up, everyone? Like I said again, this is Friday Night Live. We got a special guest, Big Droops. You see him, he's here, man. Thank you first and foremost for joining the show, bro. It's an honor to have you here, man.
None but love, man. You already know what it is. Right here
Yes,
on the balcony at the crib, bro. Just
sir.
chilling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Before we get started, man, I mean, a lot of people know who you are. I know who you are, but for the people who may not know, the chat is going crazy, showing love. Tell the people who you are, man, personally, man. For the people who don't know.
My name's Ricky, known in the hood as Drewps from Highland Park, from the Backstreet Kings clique. You know what I mean? I'm on the Haters World right now. We're doing podcasts, 200 boys. I'm sure a lot of people know about that too.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you got a crazy story. Like everyone knows about your story. You first came on Hood Stocks with your boy Big Lucky and told your story, and the shit went.
Yeah.
Everyone just gravitated to your story and just showed you love. When I know when I seen you for the first time, bro, like everyone else, it was just like automatic. You know what I mean? And I know that's just what the people got to know, but I know that's been your character, your personality, who you are your whole life, man. So where does it start for the people who don't know for Big Droops? Because like I said, you're a legend first and foremost. You got a crazy journey. Been to the pen, been to the feds. Done crazy time. Got a crazy story from your neighborhood. But where does it all start for Ricky, man? Droops.
For me, it all started off in Highland Park, bro. My mom is from Platon. She's from like the west side, and then my dad is from the east side. He's from the Dogtown Projects. So I guess they hooked up like high school or some shit. But that's where it kind of started for me. I got raised with my stepdad. He's also from Planton too. So I had a little journey of having my parents, gang members and being young and like growing up in the hood, bro. Like I lived in the hood my whole life,
Right.
except whenever I go to jail and they take me away from the hood. Like other than that, like right now I live 10 minutes away from the hood. You know what I mean? I'm still right here, right around the whole area.
Right. And,
Yeah.
right. And it's crazy. You say you got, your background, Clanton, Dogtown. I got crazy connections to Dogtown from Brick City. You know where that started. But
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but tell us, man, Highland Park is a special place. It's surrounded by different areas, Eagle Rock, and you got Lincoln Heights, you got the Cypress, and all that. But of course, you have different gangs like the Avenues who obviously are dominant
Yeah.
force over there. But Highland Park is special. Tell us, you even coming up in Highland Park before the gang banging. I know you were a tagger, did a lot of things, but how was that growing up in Highland Park and specifically your area, bro, and being a part of that area, being that you were surrounded by other areas? Like, was that hard for you growing up in that area where you maybe connected to other areas, but maybe just your certain area like Highland Park got a hold of you? Like, how was that growing up in that area, bro?
Growing up, bro, like everybody at the time was like either like affiliated with like some kind of gang or I grew up in the age of where the homies were out there taggers, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I started off with like making up my own little tagging crews and like one of the big tagging crews in my area was BSK, Backstreet Kings.
Right.
So that's where I ended up getting into. I ended up being from Backstreet Kings, and I might have been from BSK for maybe 3 4 years, and then it was during all them like peace treaty meetings and all that. Back in the days. So back in them days, everybody made a choice to be from a hood. So I ended up being from Highland Park. I was actually like one of the last dudes from like my homies, my clique, like to get into Highland Park because I was from BSK for so long. We were already treating it like more like a hood. Like we were already, you know, they already called me Droopy from BSK, you know.
Right.
So and it didn't start off like that. Like I got in BSK when you had to know how to tag, you had to know how to write.
Right. Right.
So you know what I'm saying. So it was just a different journey for me, and it was during, like I said, the peace treaty time. So like a lot of my homies, the majority of us got into Highland Park. We maybe had like 10 or 15 homies that got into avenues,
Right.
that got into the other side, you know what I mean? But we all grew up together, bro. So sometimes when it's like that, in everybody's hood, most people grow up together.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you go to elementary, you go to junior high,
Right.
and then around junior high and high school, you start making your, like, you know, your stance, who you're gonna be with, you know. And I ended up getting into Highland Park.
Right, right. That's
Yeah,
basically how it goes. So like you said, you grow up with a lot of homies, elementary and all that, and be best friends or good buddies. But by junior high, high school for sure, it separates. Everyone goes their separate ways, whatever hood they get from, and some of your best friends become enemies. Unfortunately, you know what I mean?
yeah, easily. Yeah, that's easily said, you know. Like, you know, once time went on, you know, before you know it, people that used to spend the night at their house, they used to spend the night at your house, you know.
Yeah,
It was all bad. Next time you see each other out there in the street, you know,
right,
that
right,
just that's kind of like the life we chose and grew up in.
right,
So it's like that. Is it's you know, you take it as it comes, you know.
right. Um,
Yeah,
before I get in, because I want to get into like you when you got into Highland Park, but before that, like you said, go back to the tagging days. Those were like special days, like you said too, like how you grow from a boys to man, and a lot of times for youngsters around that time specifically, those were the stages. Like you said, a lot of people were taggers before they became
yeah.
in a gang. That was like your junior high before high school, which was the gang, because eventually that's what it becomes. But even with that, like you said, it was special times and you had to be special. You had to know how to write. Like anyone couldn't be a tagger, right? You had to know how
Nah.
to be official, or you were like considered a toy, or you know what I mean. You weren't taken seriously. So even talk about that, how because it's stages to that. You have to learn how to write good, right, and tag good, and maybe if you threw up pieces or whatever you did, but you had to be official with that. How was that for you, homie?
It was cool, you know what I mean? Like growing up, like just having my family members being like from gangs and stuff. So it was something that I guess you can say I looked up to, you know.
Right,
So in our own way, we had our little crowds, and back then it was tagging. So we had that little crowd that was our homies, you know, people we grew up with. And for a lot of us, it was people that, like most of us, like the families are from one of the three gangs. They're either from Avenues or from Dogtown or Highland Park. You know what I mean? So like all of, because that's the area I grew up in, you know,
right,
and those are the three, like,
man,
the prominent gangs in the area, you know what I'm saying?
right, right,
So that's how it was. So for us, you know, a lot of homies really honestly had family from avenues at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
they were the big
Yeah, big gang.
like gang in the neighborhood,
Right, right,
you know. But you know, just there was a lot of us. So like just us being out there deep, it just turns people against you when they see you out there doing too much, you know. And we were all young and doing too much, you know. So little by little, it just turned into like, you guys got to pick a side type shit.
right,
You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
So and my family, like I said, my stepdad, they're all from Clanton, so I'd be back and forth from like Hollywood and North Hollywood. So I'd be all over the place, you know. So like for me, it took a little longer to figure out like what I was gonna do, because I was still with the, like, I've been to juvenile hall like 16 times. So
Damn.
it was like, you know, I'm in and out of juvenile hall, and my first time going to juvenile hall, I was already from BSK. So like, it just took a minute to where like it went so long with being from BSK and BSK like all I know
Right.
that I was more trying to be like because we were kind of banging that shit. It was during the area of tag bangers, you know what
Right,
I'm
right,
saying?
right. It's low key taggers were it's low key gangbangers. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we were already out there running
Right,
around with, extras on us and just being in the hood and doing our thing and we respected all the gangs that were around us, you know what I mean? We knew all of them.
right,
So it wasn't like we were looking for immediate problems, but at the same time, uh we were feeling ourselves, so we were trying to be us as well, you know what I mean?
right,
So sometimes it so I guess it could backfire on you, bro, because like while you're out there trying to like run some shit, there's other dudes out there that been running shit.
right,
So
right,
it kind of makes it like, a little crazy mix, you know what I'm saying?
right,
Especially when you're young. And I was the youngest of my homies growing up. Like all my homies are like 4 years older than me. So
right,
by the time they were already starting to go to like county jail, I was still in juvenile hall. So like everything that they had to deal with, I wasn't dealing with yet. So it was harder for me to accept the transition. You know what I'm saying at the
right.
time? Yeah.
Did you ever think like say this is what I'm trying to say, like being that like you said it was prominent gangs in the area, like the avenues were big at that time, obviously, dominant
Yeah. Easily.
easily, right? Did you ever find yourself saying like, or that you would think maybe you would join Avenue? You had homies from there, or were they recruiting you, or was it just that the area you were in and your homeboys were exclusively like towards heading towards the Highland Park, being from there, and it's just because sometimes it's who your immediate homeboys are. You're going to gravitate with that. Maybe they become from the gang first, and you go. Or was it always like going to be Highland Park once you decided to take that transition?
For me, like I said, growing up, I had my family from Glanton, so it was easily like looking up to them because like when my mom and them would have parties at the pad, it would be all of them coming through.
Right.
Like growing up, some of my best friends, they were all from Glanton, you know what I'm saying? So I'd be in North Hollywood with them, I'd be in Hollywood with them, and
Oh,
then
so you say
around the hood,
you
I'd
maybe
be
could have
around
easily
them too.
been from Clanton too easily. Maybe that could have happened.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff that could have happened at the time, bro.
Right.
Like
Right.
we used to kick back, like a lot of us kicked it like with the homies from Glassell Park,
Right.
with the homies from Tunerville. So like we kicked it with a lot of different people. Like while you're tagging, because you're still kind of like neutral, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So you're able to like maneuver in different directions.
Right.
So sometimes, like every here and there, you'll catch one of the homies like got into this hood, one of the homies got in there. But at the end of the day, all of us as a group like got into Highland Park, but we had the homies that we were growing up with that always had family, let's say from avenues, and they felt like, hey, whenever we're gonna be like, whenever we decide to like take go the other route, like be gang members or whatever, like we're gonna be from here, like so that's what they did. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So there was some that we already knew, like sooner or later, like this guy's gonna be our enemy and shit, even though we grew up as friends.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. That yeah, that's interesting. When would you say it officially? Because, like you said, you were so deep into the to your crew, right? Like maybe you were like, "I'm good right here." But when did it officially become to say, "Okay, I'm gonna do this right here"? Was it like a transition? Did it happen over time, or was it just like, okay, one day, or what?
For me, I was back and forth because I was, like I said, I was back and forth to jail.
Right.
So I'd be back and forth to my stepdad's house in Hollywood. So while I was in like on the back and forth transition to my stepdad's, cause like my PO actually kicked me out of like Highland Park, Glassell Park, Eagle Rock, like
Right.
Cypress Park. They kicked me out of the surrounding areas. They're like, hey, we'll let you out of jail, but you can't be over here, you know?
Right.
So for a while I was at my stepdad's house, and that's still when I was from BSK. So I was from BSK. I had my own tagging crew too, NYK. So it was Notorious Youngsters.
Right.
So we'd be back and forth, but I'd be mostly in Hollywood at the time. That a lot of my homies like had the meetings and ended up getting into Highland Park.
Right.
So I was like one of the last dudes to get in because I was over that way, and
Right.
everybody was like hitting me up, like, "Hey, well, which way are you going?" Like, 10 of these fools got in over here, but like 60 of us got into over here.
Right.
So like, what are we gonna do? You know? So for me, like once I came back to my mom's pad, I ended up like not like running away from my stepdad's, but like my PO was gonna come get me, so I just like went back to the hood. So my immediate circle, like the fools that I kicked back with, like brothers and family, they were the ones, they were already off from Highland Park.
Right. Right.
So it was like,
Inevitable.
yeah, there was no real way around it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
Like, yeah,
What would you say, like, once you officially made that move, and it was official, did things like kind of change? Because sometimes when you do that, like, you automatically it changes. Like, you even feel it as a man, as a, like, man, it's official now. Like, you feel different as a, like, almost like a boy to a man. You know what I mean? Was it like automatic change? And did you see people, like you said, you had old friends and homies that you knew before, and now they know that you're from Highland Park? Was it like a big difference? Like, how was that transition for you? Just transitioning to that, you know what I mean, this new you know what I mean, like, shit, you're like, you know what I mean, like, you graduate now.
honestly, the transition wasn't that different because most of us got in all at once, you know. So like I might have been like a couple weeks behind my homies or something like that.
Right.
Cause it was like a big meeting, and then my homies got in, and then like by the time I came to visit, everybody's pulling up at my mom's pad, and my mom's pad was like the spot in the hood. So everybody was pulling up like what's up, fool? Like what are you gonna do? Like what about you, you know? And
Right.
I was like, man, like, you know, because at the time, like, we were like one of the deepest like tagging crews in the area. And it was like in Highland Park and Eagle Rock area, you know. So for me, I was more feeling um like how we getting into somewhere else, you know.
Right.
But when we got into Highland Park, like they let us keep our clique. So like my clique is still Backstreet Kings.
Got you.
So yeah, so that's my clique from Highland Park. That's why like I got the crown. I got the crown on my shit for
Right.
like Backstreet Kings. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So honestly, it wasn't too much of a transition. Only that like now we're like more getting into it with a lot of the people that we grew up with. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Because like most of our enemy tagging crews, like they all got into different hoods too,
Right.
but not really like the surrounding area. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a different thing other than us beefing with like the 10 homies or 15 homies that ended up getting into the other side of the same area we're at, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Drew, how was, like, your upbringing as far as schooling? Were you going to school at this time? Did you go to junior high, high school? What schools did you go? How was that experience for you?
Most of my time I went to schools in Highland Park. So like elementary, I went to Yorkdale, and
Okay.
then junior high, I went to Burbank Junior High, which is in the hood, and
Right.
then from there I got kicked out of all LA Unified. So I was getting bused to different schools like all over. You know what I'm saying? I used to go to school like in Altadena, in Alhambra, in
Wow.
I used to go to
Where'd you
school
go in
right there
Alhambra?
by Fairfax.
Where'd you
What
go
was
in
that?
Alhambra? Continuation. Where'd you go in
They
Alhambra?
were all continuation
It
schools.
was a continuation school. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
lived in
all of
Alhambra.
them were continuations. Even the one, like the last one when I was living in Hollywood,
Right,
I was about to start a Saya, like right there, like in I guess Harpy's Hill,
right,
like on Adams, like around there, like 24th and Adams. They were all like, like the little church schools in the bottom and stuff like that.
right.
But yeah,
What,
my last school that I went to was like by Fairfax. It was by the Okie Dogs. So there was had a little continuation school right there. And
damn,
then what was that?
I'm saying, damn, you were all over the place, bro.
Yeah, they used to take me everywhere, bro. No lie.
Damn.
Yeah, they kicked me out of junior high over there in Burbank Junior High. And I got into it one of the teachers. So from there, they used to just come like pick me up and like park me out everywhere to school.
Right, right. Would you say, you say like, because I'm sure like when you move around and go around so much, that attributes to the character, to who you become. Because obviously, I'm gonna get into that later. But you become like you're bigger than a gangbanger. You became like a hustler. You're obviously a people's person. Everyone loves you. So I'm sure when you move around a lot, because sometimes when you're just secluded to one area, you're just like that. But when you get to move around, you meet a lot of different people, you learn a lot of different game, clutch, all that different
Yeah.
areas, right? So I'm sure that attributed to the person you became, right? um Getting to meet and move around a lot, right? Not just stuck in Highland Park.
I think all the times I went to juvenile hall too, I think it helped because I went to juvenile hall like I said about 16 times,
Right,
but never no longer than 4 months.
right,
So it's just a bunch of in and out. So like I'm getting to meet dudes from of all races, you know what I mean? From different gangs. So you get to know more than just your area and you get to meet people in different ways, you know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm going to get to that later because you became, like I said, now just a bigger. Obviously you became like a big hustler and all that, right? But what were the
Yeah.
stages for you even before that? Like, say the transition in stages, because there's stages even when you're a gang member and a gang banger. You start off maybe here, there, doing your thing, putting in the work you got to do to moving up and becoming just different stages of that. How was that for you during your different stages of just being from the gang, now that you're from Highland Park, starting off to where you progress and all that? How was that for you?
For me, I don't think it was too like crazy because like I said, I grew up in the pad with like my family being from hood. So that's the kind of people I was always around, you know what I mean?
Right,
So like even going to like elementary, like that's back when we had the dare program and all that
right,
shit.
right,
So like I'm going to the dare program like in a Pendleton and some Cortez and
right,
like some Dickies trying to be like hey, look at me, like fuck you guys type shit.
right,
But you know what I'm saying? It's just more of like the type of environment I was around growing up in.
right,
So I don't think it was too much of like it being forced on me or nothing like that. It's just it was there, and those were all my friends and like people I grew up with.
right, right. Uh, uh,
Yeah,
what would you say, man? What is special about your neighborhood? Because obviously, like again, you come from a area with different neighborhoods, avenues, Cypress and Dogtown, and all these gangs. But Highland Park, what was special, or what is something about Highland Park? I mean, that people may not know, man, about your neighborhood that's special to you, bro.
for me, I mean, honestly, it was uh like the place I grew up and loved, bro. So like even now, like they got into like all the gentrification and stuff like that. Like that's all I knew my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like right before I got out of jail, I've been out a little more than 3 years. my mom barely sold the pad, so like my grandma bought the pad back in the days for like a little bit of nothing, bro. So she had a bar over there on 7th and San Pedro in downtown. So like I said, I used to be everywhere, bro. I knew like, Skid Row and downtown.
Right,
So like for me, Highland Park was like it's what I love, bro. I got it tatted everywhere on my body, you know what I mean? Like that's all I knew. That's like everything I love, that was just what it was, you know what I'm saying?
right, right,
So like even now it's like I'm not out there like being an asshole no more, not like before, like running around, but even now, it is what it is, I'm from Highland Park,
right.
you
That's what.
know?
That's yeah, yeah. It's in you. Not on.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's
uh,
on me too.
that's right. That's right. That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, it's on me too.
Hey, I knew.
Yeah.
I told you, man. Like before, I spoke to you on the side. I knew your homie, Blackie. You know what I mean? He had that
Yeah.
HP on his head too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was my boy because he was cool with my homeboy Tweety. They were doing their thing with hustling and all that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
uh,
I knew Tweety too. I knew
yeah,
Tweety real good.
yeah, that's my boy. You know, he's in the feds right now, man. Free the
Yeah.
homie Tweety, man. Yeah, and I knew him, and of course, you know, he was a black dude, so I connected with him too, man. But shout out to Black. Y'all don't know wherever he is right now, but that was the homie. But tell us, man, Drewps, how did your transition go from um just being a gangbanger to now, like, how does that even start for you to becoming the man you were? Like you were a hustler, man, like a real, we ain't talking about no petty, you know what I mean? I'm sure you started from somewhere, but how does it get from you to becoming, you know what I mean, getting into the hustle game and learning about all that and becoming successful at it? How does that start for you?
I think for me it started I don't know about like everybody else, but for me it started like being in the hood and like getting high and trying to figure out a easy way to always have it. You know what I'm saying? So like growing up, like my pad was the spot. Like a lot of people used to come through my pad.
Right,
So they'd come through and I used to go, like being a youngster, I used to go get it for everybody. I knew where it was.
right,
So like at a certain time I was just like, hold up, if I get a little extra money and have it, I ain't gotta go nowhere. Like they gonna get it from me right here.
right,
So at first I used to fake like I was still going to get it. Like I didn't want to tell people like I had it. So like they'd come through like, hey, can you get me like a dub or can you get me 100? I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, I got you. I'll be back right now, like 10 minutes. And I
right,
used to go chill in the alley and just be waiting and shit. And then come back, like, hey, I got it. Here you go.
right,
You know? But it's just cause I was so young. Like I started like being in the game because back in the day, like we robbed a little, like I don't know if it's like we my homie's brother broke in a pad and they had bags and bags and bags and bags, like the big black glad bags,
right.
full of weed.
Wow.
So it was just like so much weed. I was still in junior high at the time, so it was like all the ditching parties and all that. I might have even been in elementary, but I think I might have been in junior high. But there was so much weed. We went in there, and I think I took like 2 or 3 big glad bags full of weed, and that's when it was just regular bud. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right,
But it took me like a year and a half, maybe 2 years to sell because I sold it all in dimes and nickels.
right,
Like I was just like, yeah, I got it, I got it, I got it.
right,
So I used to trade it for markers, for spray cans, and it was all free. So it was never no re-up. Like I got it. You know what I mean? So I think it went from that, bro. Just understanding where there's a want, like you gotta like satisfy that need. You know what I mean?
right, right, right.
Yeah.
And but also too, like, it takes a special, because like you say, everyone can can get out there and sell it, but it takes an understanding and a mind state to know how to elevate and like you say, not fuck the money up, knowing what your profit and all. Like
Yeah,
I'm sure that was a process, and everyone can't do that, bro. You know that because everyone hustles and sells, but no one, a lot of homies ain't successful. Then you're doing drugs at the same time too. You may start doing your own shit, so everyone doesn't know how to separate that. How did that happen
yeah.
for you to know to get smart enough to know the difference, man, to know how to elevate it and again be successful?
I think for me it was just like growing up in like the crack era, you know, the crack, the sherm, the like all of that, you know. So for me, I understood, you know, because like I said, I fucked around too. So like I understood what people wanted, you know, like you want to go to a connect and you want to get done right. You want to get love, you
Right,
know, you want them double ups, you want all that shit.
right,
So I used to go to South Central back in the day, like with the homies. We used to go to like over there, like 55th and Broadway and shit,
right,
and go and come up. You
right,
know, they'd be looking out. And even before that, I used to go by on Drew Street, like, you know what I'm saying? From
right,
like, so it was crazy, like the way it like transitioned. You know, I used to go to State Park and buy bottles of Sherm and like sell dippers in the hood. So it was just supply and demand, bro. And I always try to have everything. Like if you want bud, if you want whatever, you know, crack, and you
right,
know, I had it. You know, I was able to have everything because, you know, one stop shop. Like come get it. Like I
right.
got you.
And let me and ask you this too, because again, it's levels too of what you like. You say you started off with the bud, and you know bud is different from selling crack or bud or selling sherm. Like all of these things are different levels and knowing how to sell them, right? So how did you learn? I'm sure you didn't do all that in one day. Like how were the levels and learning? Like okay, you're selling bud, that's one thing. Selling nickel bags, dimes, whatever. But when you're selling crack, it's different. Knowing how to cut it up, break it up,
Yeah.
how to sell nicks, dubs, and all that, and even Sherm, knowing how to sell that Sherm is like the water, all of that shit is different levels. Like, how did you learn all that shit, bro? Like, was you have big homies teaching you, or did you just learn it on your own?
I think it was more being a consumer because, like I said, I used to get high on everything. Like I used to sell acid, I
Right,
used to sell crack, you know, sherm. Like whatever you needed, I used to sell it. But I also used to fuck around with everything. So being able to fuck around with everything teaches you about everything,
right.
you know. So you understand, like when you come to spend 20 bucks,
You know,
50 bucks,
you know what they
you're
want.
trying to get love. Yeah. So if I'm able to give you a little more than everybody else is giving you, you're going to come to me. And if we're getting like double ups on everything, like it's easy to give that love because you're going to keep people coming back. There was a lot of people that used to, like we used to be all together, and like for a while I was in another hood's projects slanging with them, right? Like I just ended up getting lucky and one day pulling up and fucking with them, and
Right.
they all went to jail one day. And
Mm,
when they went to jail,
all you.
it was all me for like a whole weekend.
Right,
And
right,
I didn't understand the amount of money that was going through there
right,
until that weekend. You know what I'm saying? So once that weekend came, like I never wanted to leave over there. You know what I'm saying? So and it was close to the hood. So like all my homies would be coming up, like, come on, fool, come back to the hood.
right,
So it made it crazy because I just used to leave work with my homies in the hood, like to sell for me. And at the whole time I may be like 13 or 14 years old, you know what I'm saying? But like I always used to lie about my age. I used to be real. I used to be a little dude.
right,
So like, and all my homeboys were older than me. So I used to be lying and saying I was older and shit. So like fools would see me and be like, "This fool tripping," you know.
right,
But yeah, man, I think that's all it really was, man. Is just understanding the supply and demand. But I
right.
was, you know, there during the riots, during I was living that life, bro. I'm 47 right now, so
Right.
I'm not a young kid or none of that shit.
Right.
So I grew up in all that. I went to prison my first time when I was 17, straight from juvenile hall. Never went to the county jail. You know
Wow.
what I'm saying? So it was straight from East Lake to Wasco, from Wasco to Jamestown, from Jamestown to Salinas Valley.
Wow.
Like, you know,
Right. Right.
yeah.
Right. And would you say when you go to prison, homie, I know like again, it's levels to that. You grow again. It's like when you go to prison too. It's almost like it's supposed to be rehabilitation, but you're learning how to, especially when you're younger, probably how to be a better do things better. So you're learning more. So when you come out, especially when you're young, how to do the shit better. Or some people don't, you know what I mean? But people like you who already have that mind state of a hustler and really wanting to come up, I'm sure you learn more in prison, even though it's supposed to rehabilitate you. You probably learn how to do shit better. So when you come out, did you say that taught you more and you came out on a different level, or how was your first time going to prison and coming out?
My first time going to prison, like I said, I went straight from juvenile hall, but I lost my fitness in juvenile hall when I was 17. So I went, but my whole time there, like I'm selling dope. You know what I mean? I'm in juvenile hall selling dope. I go straight to Wasco with a whole bunch of dope. So like I pull up to reception, I'm the only dude there with shit. I had money, I had everything with me.
Right,
Handcuff keys, I had all that shit on me. So like pulling up, it was just it was just a different game, bro. I've always been with the mindset of like coming up and figuring out how to make money. You
right,
know what I'm saying? I've never been like, even when I was getting high, I wasn't like the broke homie getting high in the hood. I was still like one of the homies with like the most money from the hood at the
right,
time getting high.
right. Did you did
Yeah.
you did you understand at this time, bro, that again, I don't mean to keep saying it, but obviously you got to be a special. It's not every homie, in the hood that's like most of the homies, especially when they start using, they get turned out and all fucked up and all that. Did you know already as a youngster or coming up that you were different? You know what I mean? In that mind state from even some of your homies. Like I'm different and I know what I want to do and what I'm doing. I'm sure all your other homies weren't like you, bro. You know what I mean? Did you understand who you were at some
I,
point?
I felt it was more of the like I just wanted to always have like re-up, like able to like continue to go, bro. Like,
Right,
like I wasn't even back then being young, like I used to have like all my guns on me, all my money on me. So
right,
like every times I'm walking and I got 5 guns on me, it's just because I didn't want to leave them nowhere and get got.
right.
Like I had 4 or 5 ounces of crack on me, like,
Damn.
a few
Yeah.
bottles of Sherm on me, like that's just it. There was nowhere because I was still young, so there was nowhere to leave it. It
Right,
wasn't like, hey, I can leave it here and I'm gonna come back and be cool.
right,
Cause like I used to try to like hide it, like I'm gonna hide it here and I'll come back. And I come back and like motherfuckers that come up, you know what I'm saying? So there was no way to like, hey, I'm just gonna leave it here.
right,
You know
right.
what I mean? You lend somebody your heat, you come back and it's gone. Like, oh, the
Yeah, yeah,
cops
yeah.
chased me, fool. I had to
Right,
throw it. Like,
right,
oh man,
right.
you know? So
Hey,
it's just different stuff.
right. Would you say what would you say? Because obviously you experimented, you sold a lot of different shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coming up, I sold weed, but crack wasn't. I did it, but it seemed like when I started selling weed, and I excelled at that. What would you say was your most thing? Being that you sold a lot of different shit, and even I'm gonna say before the meth, because I know when you started doing that, that was a whole nother level years
Yeah,
later.
that was
But
yeah.
right, but before that, what would you say was the most shit like you excelled at or made them like this is my thing the most that I get the most from, or because I know you were doing a lot of different shit. What was the one thing at that time that you excelled at the most or that got you the most money? Would you say?
I would say in the '90s it was crack.
Crack.
You
Yeah.
know, it was crack. Like that's what
That shit was
I
fast.
learned. Yeah, that's what I learned. Like how to sell like the best.
Right.
So I went to jail from 95 to 2000. So when I got back out in 2000, at that time, they still had like crank and shit like that. But
Right.
they didn't really have meth, like glass, you
Right.
know? So for me, it was like when I got out in 2000, I was thinking, like, okay, how am I going to figure out how to sell crack again? You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I got out, I went like pulling up to all the old spots, and I was pulling up on people and they were like, "Oh, Droopy, guess what? Like I don't get high no more." And I'm like, "Oh shit." Like, you know, like we only
Right.
know you for getting high.
Right.
I'm like, "Oh shit, you don't get high no more?" They're like, "Nah." And I'm like, "Oh shit, like good shit, you know?" And they're like, "Yeah, we just do meth now." And I'm like that's still getting high.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? But they were trying to tell me like, hey, we ain't fucking with crack no
Yeah.
more, you know? So when I got out, my homie was like, hey, fool, like I'm like, hey dog, I gotta figure out how to make some money. Like, I gotta get back in the game. And he's like, you gotta fuck with meth. Like meth is the shit now. And
Right.
I'm like, nah, I don't even know what that is. Like, you know? And he's like, nah, I'm telling you, bro, this is what you gotta do.
Mm.
And I'm like, nah, that shit ain't making no, like, let me see it. Like, nah, what the fuck? Like, I don't even know how to like do that shit. You know,
Right.
with the crack, I buy a cookie,
Right.
cut
Right.
that shit up, and I make it work, you know?
Right. Right. Hey,
So
that's crazy how crack like I'm sorry to cut you off, but
yeah,
all of a sudden, because like you said, all through the '90s, crack was just the shit. You know what I mean? As far as money making, you know what I mean? Everyone
yeah, for
could
sure.
smoke crack, and it was just like all of a sudden, like you said, it slowly just went away. But people still smoke crack to this day, but it's more low key.
Facts.
You know, it ain't like that how it was. Because I think a smoke once a smoker is always a smoker in one form or another, right? But
They're
it's
gonna figure it out.
they're gonna figure it out. But it transitioned, right? You know what I mean? To where like, damn, people ain't getting high on crack. No, that was crazy because it did just kind of just die out. But like you said, how was that transition? Because meth just came and that was a different animal, and to where it just took over, even like to now. But like you said, getting back to that, how did that transition take place for you?
So by the time, like I said, I got out in 2000, right? I was, you know, on parole, high control parole. I
Right,
parole from Salinas Valley. So from level 4 yard, you know, so I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to
right,
stay out of the way. And when I'm in jail, everybody like by the time when I went to jail in 95, I used to get high on all drugs.
right,
So like I'm getting out, but I'm leaving like a real yard. So like I'm thinking to myself, like, there's no way I can go back to jail for like a dirty test for getting high
right,
because dudes is dying in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you know, people are dying, people, you know, killing motherfuckers. So it's like riots, just all kind of shit, you know? We were fighting with a lot of people in that time, you know what I mean? Like
right,
we got into it like with the bulldogs and just a lot of different shit at the time, bro. So I was just like, I can't go back to jail for the whole dirty test. Like, so I'm not getting high no more. Fuck that shit, you
right,
know? So little by little, like my homies are telling me about meth. So I'm trying to figure out how to buy some. And it's so crazy at that time. Like the deal on an 8 ball was like 180 bucks, $200.
right,
You know what I'm selling? And then you sell it by points.
right,
So like you make your 360 back, you know?
right,
So I'm like, nah, like how is this gonna work? Like I don't get it. Like so, you know, I went to a smoke shop, I bought one of the teeter-totter scales,
right,
and it took a minute because one of my homies, he was doing good at the time. And I was telling him, like, hey, fool, pull up. Like, let me buy an 8 ball off you. And I'm gonna try to do this shit, you know? And he's like, I got you, I got you. So like I'll call him like, hey, where you at? And then my homies would be like, oh, this fool's right here. He stopped Like he sold all the shit to us. He used to have to come from far.
Right.
So, and he was the one known for like selling in the hood when I got out in 2000. So I was like, man, like if this fool comes brings it to me, like I'll have it in the hood. Like he ain't gotta keep coming back and forth, you know.
Right.
But he'd have to give me a deal, and he knew that. So instead of giving me a deal, he would stop, pull up at one of like the dope spots we had, and just sell it all before he could come and actually give it to me.
Mm.
So he'd be like, "Oh, my boy, I gotta go back. I'll bring it tomorrow, tomorrow." So one day I just went and bought it from his competition, but it was like in my enemy shit. Like it was all like not Glassell Park. It was in Glassell Park, but it was Glassell Park, but like in like
Right.
Division Street, like where the guys from Avenues are.
Right.
So I went over there and I bought that shit. You know what I mean? And my homie found out and he was like, "Oh, you're buying from my competition and this and that." I'm like, "Fool, you bullshitting." Like they
Right.
gave me the shit, like I got it. But even then I didn't understand it, bro. Like I had it and I was like, it got wet. Like if you know with anything about meth, you can't get that shit wet.
Right.
So I was drinking like I stopped at McDonald's, so I bought like a big soda and shit. I bought some food, and that shit got wet, bro.
Mm.
So I was like, oh hell nah, like I just fucked up my money, you know.
Right.
But we let it like dry back out, and we got some of it back. But that shit taught me like a big lesson, and from there. My homie was always on me now. He's like, "Hey, look, I got you instead. Like, don't go to them." But it got to the point where I went and bought an 8 ball from them people and I flipped it so quick and I made like such a good, like quick deal that I understood it now. I said, okay, now I know what this is.
Right.
I know what it is. So I started selling in a like I went from an 8 ball to like by the time the feds caught me, bro.
Right.
Like
Right.
I was selling 200-300 pounds a week. You
Right.
know what
Right.
I mean?
And we're gonna get
So
there. We're gonna get there. But Drewps, let me ask you this because you said something interesting too. Like once you start getting in the dope game and doing your thing, it's about money more so. Like of course now you have a bigger mind than just gangbang. Of course you're still doing your thing. I'm sure with your homies in the hood.
yeah, for
That's what
sure,
it is.
facts.
But once you start getting money, it's bigger than that. So you even like you just said, you cop maybe from your so-called enemies. You do
No,
transactions.
no, it wasn't from my enemies.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
in their hood. I
Okay.
had to go over there, like in their hood,
Right.
and like wiggle my way in and shit. So like
Right.
even like the people they were like paisas, you know.
Right. Right.
So I'm buying from my enemies, like their area,
Right.
but it was actually my like paisas that were like
Got you.
fucking with my enemies.
Got you.
So when I'd come, they'd be like, "Hey, bro, you're from Highland Park, you know, like where you at right here, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know where I'm at." I'm like, "Wow, what's up?" And they'll just be like, "All right, well, like, hey, here you go." You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
Right.
good luck, fool, you know? Cause it was like, it was a bad time, bro. Like, it
Right. Right.
was,
At that time, yeah, I get you. I get it.
yeah,
I get it.
it was
But
bad. Yeah.
still, the point I'm making still, once you start making money and doing big things, like you're gonna deal with even maybe sometimes in because it's sometimes it becomes about that money to where you may be, even if everyone don't know, sometimes you're doing transactions or dealing with other people from other hoods, right? You know what I mean? Sometimes because it's that money it's different.
Nah, honestly, bro, I never dealt with one of my enemies who were active.
Okay.
Like they'd have to tell me they're not active
Okay.
because the
Got you.
whole time I was selling dope, I was active.
Got you.
So like I'm like, hey bro,
Kept it G.
like
You kept it G.
yeah, like it's gonna
Okay.
be bad, you know?
Got you.
So
But you
but
know, some homies do that shit to where it's money. It becomes a point where it's money over everything, where they're doing business with anyone. You know what I mean? Because you know what
no,
I'm saying,
I hear you. There was times like things bigger than me at the time.
right?
Like where sometimes we'd have to interact
Right.
because it was bigger than me.
Right.
But overall, I never was really like dealing with somebody that said they were active,
Got you.
even
Got
though
you.
I was active the whole time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I tell people like, hey, I got my shit on me, I'm active, like what's cracking? And they'll be like, it got to the point where it was only my work in the hood.
Got you.
Like in the area, not even the hood, just the area.
Right.
So like everybody, like I used to run into like some of my enemies in jail, and they would be like, "Bro, we used to go everywhere, and we couldn't buy no work that wasn't yours. Like we didn't want to buy your shit only because it was yours, and we knew that we were helping you out, you
Right.
know." But they were like, "You fucked with everybody."
Right.
I was like, "Shit, I just, you know."
Right.
I
Right.
was able to the supply and demand came back, bro. You know,
Right.
like I was able to beat everybody's prices at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, like I
Yeah.
say, Drew, you were a special dude, homie. Let me ask you this part though. How do you deal with when you're becoming these different levels and becoming, like you said, the man where you got to work and you're that guy, but even though you're loved and the homie and all that, you still got haters, and they can even be haters from your own neighborhood. Like, how did you deal with that part? Because I'm sure it wasn't always good days and all glory. How did you deal with, or even if you dealt with it, like haters and jealousy and people, some even from your own neighborhood, bro, that like, low key scandalous shit and all that? Like, how did you deal with that and overcome that type of shit?
For the majority of the time, at that time, like it was more. I was known really active out there for doing more than just selling drugs.
Yeah.
So it
Gotcha.
wasn't like too many people really like I was a dude like it's back in the day, so like I got spinners on the car, I
Right.
got TVs on the car, my trucks,
Right.
everything was like the best you could have at the time. And like I was known for being out there too, like
Right.
just being active. So I honestly didn't have too much of that.
So
You
so
know what
what
I mean?
you're saying is like you had it, but you dealt with the hate, but dudes know not to play with you though. You would still get busy.
Yeah, I mean, but believe me, there was people getting busy on the other side too, easily.
Right.
Well, that's without a fact. Like,
Right.
a lot of people like to downplay their enemies, but I mean, I think your enemies make you who you are.
Yeah.
Like, without having strong enemies, there's no
Yeah.
way
Exactly.
that you could become
Facts.
that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
Right.
never gonna downplay my enemies. Like, they were the dudes around there at the
Right.
time, and you know what I'm saying? Like it, I've been shot back then, and I just got shot now, like months ago. You know what I mean? So it ain't like I'm dealing with soft dudes. Like these are people that are out there on the street, bro, like doing their thing.
Right.
So
Right.
respects to them.
Right. Right. Man,
Yeah.
man, when you're going through this through your different stages, bro, it becomes to a point, like you said, maybe before, even before you went to the feds and all that, but it becomes to a point where now you are like really, like I said again, the levels of this shit, bro, and you get to a level to where you're that guy, bro. Like, were you understanding at this time, or was it happening all so fast? Like, because you just blew up, bro, and you became really that guy, and you're transitioning. How do you learn how to not only manage your own shit, your money, your dope, your connects, all that, and still be active, but now transforming into a bigger guy, knowing business and like even knowing how to deal with things? You like moving out the hood, buying different properties and moving. How do you learn how to manage all that type of shit? Because that ain't easy either, bro. To like know how to do all that. Like, you weren't stuck in one place. You were moving around, getting different levels to where like you had spots and all these things. How are you learning how to do all that and maintain and do all that with the level head and still be free?
Honestly, like I said, once I got out in 2000, because everything before that, I was getting high too, bro. So like, once I got out in 2000, I had the 4 years of high control parole following me.
Right.
So I didn't get high no more,
Okay.
but I still had the same mentality. So I think that helped me a lot. And then I think like going going to jail so early and meeting everybody, being around different dudes, like helped me understand that too. Because like I was in like northern jails, like the only homie southern, like actually always having work and like doing shit.
Right.
So I think it was just more understanding the program and not really wanting to go back to jail and just respecting people too, bro. Like not feeling myself to the point that like I felt like I couldn't be touched. Like in
Right.
2001, I got shot twice while like in a good shootout. You know what I mean? I was by myself, and other dudes got shot. I got shot. It happens. Like I knew what I was going there for,
Right.
but it's it's just different, bro. I think it's just understanding that for me, I always used to drive around with the thought in my mind like the worst that's gonna happen is I'm gonna die. And
Mm.
then I felt like if I die, like I'm
Right.
already dead. Like what is it?
Well,
Like
what else?
it's gonna be over. Yeah, it's over. So
Right.
like I used to go everywhere with that in my mind, and it just helped me like letting my balls hang. You know what I mean? Like doing my
Right.
thing.
Right. Hey, someone in
Yeah.
the comment, Rude Boy said God is good. Throughout that's a good point because I'm gonna ask you this: throughout your journey and doing all this shit on the edge and living the street life and doing all these things, did you ever have a religious side to you? Did you believe in God? Like, how was your mind state far as religion and spirituality throughout all this?
I was always good with God, bro, but I never like when I went to juvenile hall to to the pen, like when I did that whole little 5 year time, like my first like long bid,
Right.
I got my like Holy Communion by like Father G
Right.
from
Shout out
Homeboy
to you.
Industry. He used to
Yeah.
be the one always pulling up over there at Central Juvenile Hall. So I
Right.
did my Holy Communion with him, like even in jail, like I didn't mind like going and like I've read the Bible like plenty of times. Like I'm Catholic, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not one of them dudes that is like if we're having something good or if things are going good for me, like I don't mind going to church that day to appreciate the Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think that helps too. Like I think some people feel like, oh, we don't care about that or this or that, but I've never been one of them guys to like my kids used to tell me when I was in jail, bro. They're like, Dad, you're always getting in trouble. Like, why don't you just be good and come home? And I
Right.
used to tell them, I said, hey, look, I came to jail because I was being an asshole. So I'm gonna be an asshole until I come home. And then when I come home, if I want to do good, that's when I'm gonna do good.
Right.
So I think that's kind of like what got me along through this shit because like my whole time in jail, I was, you know, doing what you're supposed to do while you're in jail.
Right.
I never deviated from the program. I was always me, the same person. But like nowadays, like it's easy for me to come out and be chilling. Like I don't get at nobody crazy on the internet
Right.
because I don't feel that's the like I don't think it's cool, bro. I feel like it's like some cell soldier shit, to be honest with you, bro.
Facts.
Like them dudes in jail like just yelling at you through a door.
right,
I feel it's the same through here. That's why when anybody calls in and they're woofing, all right, hey, salute to you, bro.
right.
You
That
know?
that's what I always, man, from day one. When I first saw your story, it's like I'm not the only one. Everyone just gravitated, but me personally, because I'm that same type of guy. And you see real ones, bro. You just you see it, and I seen that in you from day one. You know what I mean? I said I like this guy. You're different, bro, and you understand because you have all the mentality. You're with all the bullshit, all that, but you know in your mind how to carry yourself and how to treat people. And it seems like you were always, I don't know if you always were, but it seems like you were always just that guy, cool guy, you know what I mean? The nose, I don't know, it's just, you're different, bro. You know what I mean? Were you always this type of guy where you understood that mindset to where, because that gets you farther in life, further in life, bro. Like, because homies, especially homies that's gangsters and all that, homie. Like they're extraed out. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's all that, homie. But you gotta know how to level it out. And it seems that you knew how to do that, bro. Were you always like that, or did you learn that, or what?
Um, I mean, easily, I'm
Balance.
not perfect, bro. Like I've had, like slip ups, especially like learning the internet was
Right,
a little tough for me in the beginning because, like, anytime anybody would like talk shit, I felt like it was real. So I was like, "Well, what's up? Like, where you at? Like,
right,
send me your shit."
right,
And like really honestly, like I'd pull up. Like, where you
right,
at?
right,
You know what
right,
I mean? Send
right,
me your hookup and I'll pull up right now,
right,
and then we could figure it out. But like being over there with my homie Lucky on Hood Stocks,
right,
he'd be like, "Hey, fool, like you can't do that. Like a lot of this shit, like fools just be talking. And
right,
it just helped me like kind of balance that out because it just showed me that like people are just talking. Like I mean, I met you over there at the show in Hollywood,
yeah,
and I told everybody I was gonna be there 2 months ahead of time.
right.
I
You
was
did,
there what for
you did,
7 hours with
you
just
did,
my brother.
you
You
did.
know,
Yeah, yeah,
you know. So it
yeah.
wasn't like I'm hiding from nobody or anything like that, bro. I just feel like whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, no matter like
Facts.
what we do.
I'm
Like
the
it's
same way. I feel, bro, especially at this point, we're not youngsters anymore. So, especially when you're
yeah,
young, it's different. But at this point, bro, I feel the same way. I don't give a fuck. Like it's like because you know the energy you bring, and I know my shit is genuine and good. So I'm not bringing that energy. So I'm not worried about it. So if something happens, it just I can't stop that, bro. But I know what I'm bringing, the energy I'm bringing. So I feel okay anywhere. I'm not. I mean, not saying I'm stupid and doing anything, going anywhere,
of
but
course.
the energy you bring. So I'm not worried about anything. Homie, God got me, bro. And if it's something that's supposed to happen at this point in my life, that's just what it is. I'm cool with that, bro. You know what I mean? And that's what I get from you. And even speaking on balance, like say, even like with your boy Lucky, I feel that was balanced because Lucky again is you guys. It seems like the balance. He's a real good guy, but Lucky is over the edge and he can be over the edge. But I felt you were that balance right there. You know what I mean? The cooler head. You know what I mean? So I just think you're that type of guy to bring balance, like with homies that, you know what I mean? They know how you are and they're gonna respect that, and you bring that balance to the game, bro.
I think with him, we just knew each other from like way back. You know what I mean? I
Right,
I met Lucky over 30 years ago, so we've always been cool. Like we got this little extra whatever's going on right now. I don't
right.
know
Get it? Yeah, I
what
get
it
it.
is. But
Yeah. But I know
like
that's your boy. Overall, that
overall,
yeah,
salute to him, much respects, wish
right,
him nothing but success. But like it is what it is, bro. You can't control anybody else, what they do, how
right,
they feel.
right,
So I just always do me, bro, and I go from there. You've seen the way I was over there, even at the show,
right,
the nationwide show. It
right,
was all love with everybody. We had people there from everywhere, and it was all love. I didn't see anybody on no extra shit. You know, I
but
think we had a good show. Everybody
but
showed love.
But Drewps, let me say this because regardless of what happened with Lux, and I didn't even mean to bring that up. Shout out to Lux, and I
No,
know
no, it's all good.
that's
Salute
your,
to
but
him.
I know that's your boy, and he's from
Yes.
the neighborhood. So even the shit you're going through, I know one day, whenever it may be down the line, you guys are gonna sit back and laugh at that later. You know what I mean? Whenever that time comes. But
Yeah.
why would you say that? Because you're not gonna get the bullshit from no one because everyone that knows you, regardless of what you went through, you got love, and they know you're not on that type of time. They know everyone that knows you knows who you are, bro. So they respect you. Look, I mean, Drewps, you got nothing but love even on that show from day one. So it's like you're not gonna get that because people are gonna know who you are, first and foremost. So it's all love. I don't see any hate that can come to you, bro. Especially not just from leaving the show. You know what I mean? Because you didn't do
Yeah.
anything wrong. You didn't do it was nothing. You know what I mean? That's personal.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be any hate.
I mean, shit happens. You know, it is what it is. But overall, you know, I go out of my way to respect people the way they respect me. Um, if I see bad comments, I just don't address them. You know, I
Right,
think when you address like people giving bad comments or negativity, it gives it life. So if
that
you don't give it life,
that,
eventually it's gonna go away. You know
that,
what I mean?
that part.
Like
Right,
like most people want to be free, bro. Most people ain't trying to be in jail forever, especially not crashing out over being on the internet.
facts,
You know what I'm saying? So
facts.
I try to stay away from the negative part. I try to just be who I am, bro. Like this is me every day. Like, you know, most of the time I'm chilling at the pad
Right,
or, you know, with my lady or whatever I'm on, bro. I'm chilling, you know, and I'm not with a whole bunch of dudes. I'm
right,
either by myself with my lady or with my brother.
right.
That's really it, bro. You know?
That's how it's supposed to be these days, bro. Because at this point, bro, you've done everything you could do. Like, as far as the work, put in the work, proving it's like you've done it all. There's no at this point, and especially the age we are, bro. It's like I even trip out on that on fools that do crash out and do all that. At this point, homie, you're supposed to be living your life, bro, and enjoying these years. You're free. You've been through it all. You've been through prison, federal prison. You've come through that, able to come home and even go through this bullshit again and get shot and survive, bro. You know what I mean? You're
Right.
supposed to be living your life, man, and enjoying it, and you deserve that, Droops. You know what I mean? You deserve that.
Yeah. Well, I
Seriously,
mean, that's what I'm trying to do, bro. And you know, I'm thankful for Blue Devil showing love. You know, respects to him. You know what I'm saying? He got me on the platform with him, and
yeah,
showing a lot of love, bro. And I'm getting more comfortable in with this podcast stuff. Like, you know, we talked right before we went on. You know, I was trying
yeah,
to figure out like,
right,
hey,
right,
how are we gonna do this? Cause
right,
like even this is new for me, bro.
right, right.
But like it's kind of easy because I'm just being me, bro. So I don't have to come on here and act like somebody I'm not. You know what I'm
It.
saying?
That's it.
So yeah, so when
That's
it's
it.
like that, I think it's a lot easier. You know what I mean? I just been chilling, you know. Put
Right.
some 22s on my whip again the other
That's
day. I
right.
cracked
That's right.
cracked the rim and I was,
That's
been doing that today,
that's
trying
right.
to figure everything out,
That's
So
hey,
yeah, just
hey,
different shit,
hey,
man.
you know what too, Droops? I respect you. Like again, I've been giving you props the whole time, and
Appreciate you, my boy.
I'm giving you your
Respects.
flowers. I'm no hater at all,
Yeah.
but I respect. What I like about you, you a fly dude, homie. You're a fly dude. I like that you're fly, and I like that you're a people person. I see you. Everyone got love for you, bro. You know what I mean? You're not a
Yeah.
hater. You're a people's person, and you're open. You're open minded. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when you're that type of guy, you're gonna get love from everyone. No one can hate on you. There's no if you hate on Droops, you're just a hater, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
It happens though, bro. It happens.
I
They're
know
they're
it does.
out there.
I know it
They're
does.
out there.
I know it does. But speaking on, I want to speak on a haters world too. Your transition to the haters world. Shout out to Blue Devil, Opina. I like that. I like that setup, that connection you guys got because what I like about that, it's a good connection because you all are three different people. I like how that's set up. Blue Devil is who he is. He's a hater's world. He's gonna be the hater, quote unquote. He knows how to play his position. I like I really like Opina, man. I like that guy. He's smart. You know what I mean? He knows his shit and he knows how to conduct himself. And then you come on and you bring, you know what I mean, the level of that you add, you complete the you complete it because you're that guy who's really been there, done that, who really has the knowledge and who's really a street guy and who can complete the puzzle. You know what I mean? So I like that connection you guys have. How has that been for you? That transition to the haters world, because now it's a little different from hood stocks where you're just kind of in the back right there. You're checking everything out, but now you're in addition to the platform. You're interviewing a lot of because haters world is a little different. Lucky has his thing, and Lucky is great at what he does, and he has special kind of interviews with people. But with the haters world, you guys bring a lot of different people, artists, influencers, like a lot of different people, and you're able to interact and learn these people and now interview rappers. As I know you're heavy into music. I know your love for music, so you get to interview a lot of different music artists, a lot of different influencers, and a lot of different people, and you're able to open up more, right? And interact more. So how has your transition been to the haters world, bro?
It actually been real cool, bro. Like, for real. Blue Devil is trying to like give me like more action and like doing my shit. Like he's
Right,
like, like over there with Lucky. It was more his show, like
right.
him doing it, and I was like, I guess more in the background, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
So like right now, we got times where like Blue Devil will be like, "Hey, this is just you and Opina today. You guys get on and interview them."
Right.
But like he doesn't mind giving us the spotlight, bro.
Yeah.
So not saying that that ain't what Lucky was trying to do, but
Get it. I
it's
know exactly. That's why I
yeah,
asked, because Lucky, it was more his thing, and no
it's
dis-
always been his thing, bro. It's been
and
Lucky's thing.
really, truthfully, with Lucky, because I know even since you left, he's been trying to figure it out, find different guests and all that. But I really think with Lucky, I think he needs to just focus with him because that's what he's good at. That is his
Yeah,
show, and he probably needs to just focus on that. You know what I mean? So that is good. But I think with you now, again, it's great, bro, because you guys have a trio with three different minds, and everyone can bring a different perspective to the game. And Blue Devil gives you guys that lane to do that, and it's interactive. The 200 boys, and you guys can all open up. I like the behind the scenes where you guys interact with everyone before the show. I just see yourself. I see you over there happy, bro, and just like opening up and having a good time interacting with the fans and the people, and I just see you happy, bro. So I'm happy
that's
for you, man.
that's really what it is, bro. Like I'm over there. I'm in a good place. Um, we're chilling. Like we all kick it like good together. Like there's no extras, bro. We're just
Right,
chilling. So, and he's like, I started something new yesterday. I started reading the horoscopes.
right,
And then after the show, like we started another like little like segment that's still part of the show where we asked the guests like five different questions where me, him, and Opina switch off and try to ask five questions and just see how it is. But
right.
it's more Blue trying to make us more comfortable because he really had it going for what, maybe like a year
Yeah,
before me or Opina got on it. You know
right,
what I'm saying? As far as the interviewing people, because he started with reactions and doing his thing. And so he's already comfortable, bro. Like I'm still learning how to be comfortable with this shit, you
right,
know?
right.
Like it's not something that's easy for me. Like it's I grew up when they said like it ain't cool for us to be talking on camera,
Right,
bro.
right, right. This
So
is
like
this is new. I
yes,
get it. I get it. This is
yeah,
new.
so it's new, so I'm still like I'm learning it. I'm learning how to be comfortable. I'm learning how to like deal with everything. So little by little, I'm getting. I've been a lot more comfortable over there on the haters world with 200 boys,
Right.
and I really think that I'm finding myself, like, finding being comfortable with being able to do everything that I'm doing, bro.
Right.
And for me, I really appreciate him for that, because
Right.
he gave me a spot to like figure my shit out. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And he's not somebody that doesn't mind sharing the spotlight.
Facts. Facts.
So
Facts.
yeah, bro. So that helps a lot.
I respect Blue Devil, and what I really like about Blue Devil has really changed the game with what he does. I know some people you can look at Blue Devil two different ways. Some people say whatever, but what I like about Blue Devil, he has, as far as his platform is concerned, this dude has changed the game and how he does it. He has a lot going on over there, man. He really puts the work in. Like you know what I mean? Like he has a lot of shit going on over there, man. He's really like really putting his all into that channel, like all over. He has a lot going on, and to allow, like you said, other people to come on and have find their way as well and open up his doors to other people, man. That's beautiful because everyone can't do that, bro. You know what I mean? And everyone
Yeah,
not accept, everyone wants it to be about them sometimes, unfortunately. So it's hard to get people in and open up the doors for other people, and he's done that. So shout out to Blue Devil. Let me ask you this. How was that? Yeah, Blue Devil, salute, bro. How was that at first transition though, going there? Because I'm sure when it first happened, you had a lot of people scratching their head and this and that. How did you kind of deal with that personally? Or did you just say, I don't give a fuck about what people say? How did you kind of deal with that?
it was actually pretty cool because me and him developed a relationship before that. Like you seen before that, I probably was on his show maybe like 3 or 4 times.
Right.
Like we used to talk behind the scenes, and I've been to American Cholo a few
Oh,
times.
shout out to Gil, my boy too. Yep.
Yeah, the homies from No Lames podcast been over there. So like I actually move around a little bit, bro. So like I don't have a problem like talking to people. So it was kind of easy transition just because we already had a pretty cool relationship before that, bro.
Right.
So it wasn't even like oh, but now this is gonna happen. Like I already did like 3 or 4 podcasts with him before that, so it was an easy transition. It didn't feel like like forced. It didn't feel nothing like that. It just felt natural, bro. Like we're chilling, like he's the homie for real. Like
Right.
it's more than just regular podcast, bro. Like we're chilling, bro. So
And
it's
that's what
cool.
you do anyway, though. That's the guy you are. Anyway, this is what your whole life. That's how you made your way. You move around. You interact and get on with different people. That's really, you know what I mean. So I think that's just you anyway. So no one can contain you to being just in a box. I don't think, bro. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that's how you made your chops, homie. That's what you do.
Yeah, for sure.
You
Yeah.
know? That's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
What would you say so far, man? Because you've been on the Haters World now, and you guys interview and deal with a lot of people. Has there been any specific show personally that you really, man, like, wow, I really enjoyed? Like, has there been any special standout shows to you so far that are memorable to you?
I think like when we do the album release parties,
Yeah.
I think those are like real cool, bro. Like
Oh,
yeah, like Bozo's came and he's already did like 2 different albums, and like we're just chilling, like doing our thing and shit, like a bunch of homies kicking it together.
right,
Like the last album release party we did of Bozo's, like we had the homies from STP,
right.
from the tagging crew, they did a whole new mural on the back of Blue Devil's wall in the
Oh,
time that we were doing the podcast.
that was dope.
So it was dope, bro, and it's something that we're using every day. Shout out to STP, my
STP.
boy Pharaoh, Shorts, and Crude came through and looked out. But it's just been a lot of dope shit, bro, and it's I'm networking with a lot more people. Um, just it's just been cool, bro. Like all the way around. Like
Right.
I said, respects to Blue Devil, Pina, all the
Yeah.
Hater World media.
Yeah.
Salute to them. You
Yeah.
know, they all show love, bro. It's been love all the way around.
Dope. Dope. Let me ask you this:
Yes.
Droop, do you see yourself? Because again, Droops, you're special, and I'm sure Blue Devil knew that. That's why he brought you on. You're a special guy. Do you see yourself? Whether it be with the haters world or your own, like expanding and maybe getting, or maybe this is an exclusive. Are we going to see the Big Droops show, or you do your own podcast exclusively, where even if it's with the team or whatever? Like, do we see something coming with Droops that you have plans for the future? And I'm sure people will love that, bro. Everyone loves you, homie.
When I first started with actually, like one of the times when I went, the first time I went over there with Blue Devil, we did like one of the interviews. It was him and Playboy Too Heartless, right?
Yeah, I
And
remember him. What happened to him?
he's still around. He's still around right there.
I
But
liked him.
yeah, they were the ones that actually gave me like Playboy was like, "Hey, Droops, you need cause I had before my Instagram was my real name, like it wasn't
Right,
no like handle or nothing like that, you know." So he's like,
right,
"Hey, fool, you need to try to change it up, try to make something happen for yourself, bro." So that's when I went to the D Hood Star, you know what I'm saying?
okay,
And even when I started dealing with Blue Devil, he's like, "Hey, bro, like." You know, and shout out to American Cholo too,
yeah,
because when all this little transition happened from like hood stocks to haters world, you know, even American Cholo was like, "Hey, bro, if you ever need like
yeah, because
studio
he
time,
has
you need."
because Gil has a studio now. I know he does a lot of different stuff, right? It's like a multimedia
Yeah,
thing. Shout out to
but I
Gil.
mean, he offered, bro. They were like, "Hey, bro, like if you just need the space, like to you want to try to do your own shit, like
Right,
here you go, bro. Like it's open for you." So
right,
it's never been like beyond like me being able to do my own. But I think right now I still need growing, bro. I'm still learning.
right,
And I think if I do something else, I would like to do it with Blue Devil, bro. Just
right.
have some
Yeah,
kind
no,
of other segment there,
right.
or
I
you know,
agree.
figure
I
different
agree.
things out as I get comfortable, you know?
I agree, and I think Blue Devil sees that too. So I'm just putting it out there because I foresee that, and I think Blue Devil does too. But like you said, it'll take time, and as you grow more. But I think that's inevitable because the people love you. I just think you just like you said need to get more comfortable with everything, and I see that eventually happening to me personally because I see that because uh Droops, you know what I mean. Everyone loves you, bro. You got a great story. You're a people's person. The love is just there, bro. So I foresee that, and I'm sure Blue Devil does too. And I would love to
Appreciate
see
that,
that.
my boy.
Yeah,
Real
man.
talk. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're a real one, bro. I've been fucking with you since day one. I'm glad you know. Y'all
They
hear the
going
sniper?
getting
Yeah.
it in on the
Yeah,
main
yeah, yeah,
street.
yeah. They get it in, but I heard like you said, you already saying I'm gonna be here. Boom, boom. You know what I mean? So I put that in my notes, and I'm like, man, I would love to see the homie, and we chopped it up. We didn't get to take flicks. Remember, I was like, oh, we'll get
Yeah,
it
that's
in.
what I was saying. Yeah, we were back and
We
forth.
were
But you
moving
seen, I
around.
was there with like 7 hours, bro,
Yeah, yeah,
chilling.
yeah. So it's
Yeah,
all good. But full circle, we're here now, bro. So it's all love, man. You know, and
yeah.
I want to thank you, Droops, man, because you extended your, you know, what I mean, your hand to me and came on my platform, bro, and you showed me nothing but love, bro. So I want to shoot it back, bro, and salute you, give you your flowers, bro, because me personally, man, in the time we're living in now, it's hard to come across real homeboys, man. That I mean, when I say real, I mean real, bro. And you are one of those, bro. And I respect that because it's not easy to come by these days, bro. To find
Likewise, bro.
real
Yeah,
genuine,
likewise.
bro. So I salute you and give you your flowers, Drew.
That's right, homie. Likewise, and I mean, you got my number, bro, and I'm
Yeah,
sure we're not too far
yeah,
away from each other. Holler anytime, bro.
yeah.
Whatever you need, if I could help in any way or like, you know, whatever, bro. Hit me up,
Yes,
bro.
sir.
I'm right here.
Yes, sir. We're locked in now, bro.
Yeah, we're
I
locked
don't wanna
in
hold
for
you. We've
sure.
been here for a minute. Anything else you want to let the people know we didn't speak on? You want to let the people know, or anything else like we didn't speak on? You want to speak on?
Nah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we covered a lot. And if you ever need me back on the platform, bro, I'm right here. You know, like you said, we're locked in, bro. And you know, everybody knows. Tune into the Haters World 200 Boys. That's where you can find me, like, you know, throughout the week. You
Yes.
know, salute to you and everything you guys are doing over there, my boy. And you know, holler anytime.
And thank you, because I know you guys had a show tonight. You weren't. I didn't even know that, but I know they had a show
Yeah,
tonight. You weren't there, so I'm sure you took time out for me, bro. So thank you
yeah.
again, bro. You know
You
what I mean?
already know.
Yeah, man.
Salute.
Hey, man, it's the homie Big Droops here live, man. We did it. Thank you, Droops. Thank you. Hey, any shout outs you want to give before we go?
Shout out 200 Boys, Haters World. Everybody tap in, man. Appreciate you for having me on your podcast, bro. Much
Yes, sir.
love.
Much love, man. The legendary Droops, the Highland Park legend, man. That's another one. We're out of here. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Shout out to my producer, DD Hairston, for making it all happen. Shout out to everyone in the chat. It was a lot of love in the chat tonight. Thank you, everyone, for the love, man. Droops probably couldn't see it, but he'll go back and check it out later. But you got a lot of love
Facts.
tonight, bro. So thank you again, man. It's the G-Lew Show, Friday Night Live. And it's the homie Big Droops, the legend, man. We just did it. We just did the damn thing, and we out of here, y'all. Thank you.